Hi everyone. Okay, so this is the second time I've started this. Let's see how this one goes. So, let me tell you the story about what happened on June the 7th. So, June 7th, it was chaotic because we went to the San Pedro Pier to get to board the Royal Caribbean cruise. It was my parents' 55th wedding anniversary, first cruise ever. And so this was our 24th cruise. So we're a little bit on the experience side of cruising. It's our jam. We love it. We love it. And so it was Matt and Shy and Tim and I and my parents, and we enjoyed lunch when we got on the cruise. It was nice. And then we went to our rooms, and my mom's like, I need a drink. And my mom's not much of a drinker, but she was like, she knew she wanted to experience that drink package. So it was, from the get go, it was funny. So Cheyenne and my mom took off to go find drinks. Came back, Tim and I were just resting. He didn't complain about anything. Nothing, no complaints, nothing. And we finally all came together. We met at dinner because we all got a table together for dinner, right? We ate dinner. Tim had prime rib, his favorite, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. The kids said, so this is 3 hours into the cruise on June 7th, 3 hours into the cruise. We joke with Tim now and say, hey, you couldn't do it 3 hours before the cruise was over. No, you had to do it 3 hours before or into it. And so so what ended up happening is we had dinner. The kids said they were going to go swimming. They wanted to go night swimming. So they took off. Well, my parents wanted to go gamble. My parents are gamblers. They love the casinos and stuff like that. So that's their jam. And so we walked them to the casino. And we dropped them off there, took a picture of them. Tim and I said, let's go look at the photos, because we took photos when we got there. Well, we did the whole shebang, which we normally don't do. We usually bypass the photos, but this time we said, no, let's do the photos, and let's go look. And so he is following me downstairs, and I'm hoping not to fall apart, guys. So let's try our best not to. So he follows me to the kiosk for the photos. Well, he swipes our card, our key to the world card. That's what they call it on a Disney cruise. And so, but then his face tightens up, and I'm looking at him going, is this what I need to push? And he's looking at me. He's just staring at me. And I'm like, why aren't you helping me? I said, why aren't you helping me? He was not speaking to me. So I thought, okay, well, he's mad at me, right? Because that's what he usually does. Because he did this. He goes, and I thought, okay, well, he's mad at me. So I said, why aren't you helping me? And he goes, he just does that sigh. And I'm like, okay. And I said, use your card. And so his right hand tightened up like this. So his right hand tightened up, and then all he could do was go, but not say anything to me. And I go, okay, that's fine. I said, let's just go to the room. So he follows me into the elevator. We get into the elevator. And then I see him where there's, of course, there's a crowd in the elevator. And I'm explaining the story to you, that way you are aware too of this if this happens to your significant other or anybody, if you're even a stranger and you see this happening, you'll know what you're seeing, and it's a stroke. So he gets into the elevator and he's looking at me, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's just like, all he could do is do that. And I was like, okay. Well, then he kind of like stumbles a little in the elevator back to the wall. And I said, are you okay? I go, are you okay? He's still not saying anything. And I thought, okay, this is getting a little concerning, right? And so, well, I was like, well, this is our floor. So we get out of the elevator and he starts listing to his right. I catch him. So I'm holding on to him. A man comes out with his family from the elevator and grabs Tim's other side, and we gently laid him on the ground. And then his right side was completely done. So I knew immediately that he had a stroke. So the man gets behind him on the floor and is holding him up, and he's like, he's okay. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. We got you. And so then the wife comes, and then she's calling for help on the ship. People are like scrambling to try and get help. So the crew comes from the Royal Caribbean. I said, he's having a stroke. So they're doing their walkie-talkies. They're doing all of that. So they're asking Tim's name. He has not been able to respond at all. No response, nothing. But he is just doing that. And then when the Royal Caribbean guy asks him, what's your name? He was so mad. You can see in his expression, he was so mad because he wanted to say what was wrong, but he couldn't even say his name. So I was like, okay, you know, what's happening here, right? And so they came, they put him on a gurney. He loses consciousness. They take him to... They take him to the infirmary and whatever. And yeah, the ER in the ship. It's in the bottom of the ship. And he's convulsing. He's doing all that. Puking, everything. I mean, his whole dinner. He had our dinner, my dinner, plus his dinner. And so we had appetizers. We had a full meal. And so he's puking all that up. They're getting everything out of him because he can't breathe. So then I'm watching the whole thing because nobody closed the door. So I'm watching my husband go through all of this. I see them working on him. And I'm like, okay. So he said, please get my parents. I said, please get my parents. And so I showed him a picture because the last picture was of them at the casino. So they came, and then I said, can you find my kids? And I didn't fall apart. No crying, nothing. I am just watching everything happen. I am just like going, what in the world is happening? So parents come. They're sitting down and said he's having a stroke. And so, well then, they can't find the kids. They were swimming, right? But it had been a few. And so they got done swimming. They went to the bar. And so, they were at the bar across from the customer service. So they ended up paging them on the loudspeaker. So then one of the head ladies is talking to me, staying with me the whole time and saying, you know, we're doing everything we can, everything else like that. They had like 3 doctors on board, and they had, you know, everybody was working on them. So it was about 45 minutes after his collapse that they finally found the kids, because then they finally decided to page him. And I see Cheyenne walking towards me, and I fall apart. I'm like, oh, yep. And so she's coming, and she's like, Daddy. And so that's when I lost it. And then, 3 captains came down, and they were conversing, and I'm right there in the room, and I can see all of them, and they shut the door on me, but never once did they shut the door on Tim. So I'm with him, next to him, watching everything. It's something I'll never get out of my head. my best friend, just collapsed. So this wasn't supposed to happen. He was 52. And at the time, his birthday's in July. And, yeah. So then, they decided that they weren't going to fly him out because he had a brain bleed. That they were going to turn the ship around because we were only 3 hours into the cruise. And we were going to be at sea the next day. And we were just going to Ensenada. That was it. Because it's a baby cruise. It was a weekend cruise for my parents because they'd never been. And my mom was afraid of getting like vertigo. So we just did one stop, which was Ensenada. But we boarded on Friday, and Ensenada would have been Sunday. And then we would have been home on Monday. So we decided, they decided that all the captains got together, and the doctors, and they all felt that turning around would be the best bet, and to get the LA fireboat that's usually at dock at San Pedro, and they would get us. So we turned around and we get onto the LA boat, and my husband is 6'2", 275. He's a big sturdy dude, and some of these little fire guys are struggling. And I'm just watching them. My husband's strapped into a gurney, and we are in water, so it's shaking and everything else. And my parents get into the boat. The kids get into the boat. I'm last to get into the boat. I'm watching Tim the whole entire time. I'm like laser focused on him to make sure, like, please don't drop him. Please, like, what is happening? And so they get him onto the LA boat. And, then from there, they met up with another boat. That boat took him, so we met up with them. That boat took him to the hospital that they felt would, so they took him, but they didn't take me. And so we had to get our own way over to the hospital. So that was a little nerve-wracking for me. So, because he was out of my eyesight. And so, but Torrance Hospital in Los Angeles, Southern California, I don't know if I'm proper or not, if it's Los Angeles, but their Torrance Memorial Hospital in Torrance is rated like one of the top like 5 or so, maybe even number 1 for stroke patients. So we met up, the kids and I, from the fire station. I told my parents, go to this hotel, go home. I don't know what's happening, just go home. And so they did. So they never went with us to the hospital. I didn't want them there. I didn't want my parents there because I felt it was too much. They didn't need to be there. And so they went to a hotel nearby, and then they flew home the next day. Cheyenne and Matt stayed. We went to Torrance Memorial. We were in the ER. They incubated my husband. They took him to ICU. He was in a coma for 2 weeks. It was intense, you guys. It was really, really intense to see your loved one on a ventilator. It was so hard. And not knowing if he was going to wake up, how he was going to be when he woke up. All these things that go through your head. I never left him. I couldn't leave him. It didn't even dawn on me to even go home. Nothing. I was like, nope. If he goes, I go. It's plain as day. There is no life for me without him. So, and I know that upsets a few people, but he is my life. He is everything. He is everything to me. He is truly my best friend. So, they say you only meet your best friend once, right? If you have a soulmate, he's mine. And just know, you guys, for 2 weeks when you live there in ICU, you hear all the beeps. You know all the beeps. They're scary. They're scary. It is unbelievable how much you learn by living there. So, everybody was so amazing to us at Torrance Memorial. Everyone was so amazing. And a few days later, like 4 days later, the CEO came and talked to us because the fire guys are very family oriented in Torrance, and they had their chief talk to the CEO of the hospital, and he came and talked to us, and a very nice man. Cheyenne never left either. Matt had to go back home, but he stayed with us for about a week and a half. And then Cheyenne was like, I'm not leaving. So she stayed with us. She stayed with me and Tim. She was our rock. So it was us three holding him tight to us. That's her daddy. That's her number one. And so us losing him wasn't an option. So the only thing the CEO, he says, "What is there anything I can do to help?" I said yes, because Cheyenne had a hotel, and I left 3 times in a week to go take a shower. And I went to that hotel real quick, took a shower, and went right back. And that was 3 times that I left in the first week. Then the CEO came, and I asked him if I could have a shower, and if there was anywhere I could take a shower. And so they found where I could. And from there, we met some really nice people, really amazing people there too. And so, yeah, June 7th, we arrived at Torrance Memorial. My husband was a stroke victim at that time. And then 2 weeks after he was in a coma, they started waking him up. That was another nightmare, because it's also scary seeing your loved one wake up and not knowing anything. Their brain is so full of blood that your neurons are, they're not firing. And so to see him wake up and not be the same person was so hard. And then he had aphasia, which means he couldn't speak. So it was like being reborn. You're a baby again. You have to everything feed them, feed your loved one, and change and everything else. And it was difficult, because it was like, are we going to get him back? And but slowly but surely, they do come back. They no longer become a victim, they become a survivor. And one thing you have to know, you guys, is that don't give up. They're not a victim. They are going to be survivors. And just have hope. And it was so hard to see, you guys. It was so hard to see. But we met so many amazing people at Torrance Memorial. And I lived there with him for 2.5 months. We lived there. And from one of the doctors recommended that we go to Craig Hospital in Colorado, that it was a top-notch facility, an acute center for him. and he started regaining a little bit of his right side back. And so they felt he would be a really good candidate. So on August 6th, they flew us through private jet to Craig Hospital, and we arrived there. And did I say June or August 6th? So June 7th, we were at Torrance. August 6th is when we went to Craig Hospital. So not 2.5 months, 2 months. And then since we got to Craig Hospital, things started changing. Tim started speaking more. He started moving his right side more. You know, the PT, OT, ST at Torrance were great. They were great. And I love those people. Everybody at Torrance I love so much. And I can't speak highly enough, from the doctors and nurses to the staff to the managers, the CEO. Everybody was just amazing. The janitors, or I don't know if you're supposed to call them janitors or not. Sorry, I'm not very PC. Housekeeping, were phenomenal also. You get to know everybody, especially when you live there. I lived there full time. Cheyenne was at an Airbnb. So then we arrived to Craig Hospital. Tim's doing more and more. I decided, and Cheyenne decided, that within the first 2 weeks of being at Craig Hospital, we were going to learn everything we needed to take care of Tim. And so we did. We did all the training. Within 2 weeks, we did all the training. So we were very fast with everything. And so the last month we were there, I was basically doing everything for Tim. So I became his full-time caregiver. And I'm his full-time caregiver. And I love it because it's always been me and him against the world, you know? And my best friend is back. And he's so funny, because I was telling him earlier, because it's just me and him at the house, and I told him, I said, I feel like I need to do something. I said, like, I didn't do enough today, you know, because I have been going nonstop when we got back from Colorado, and we came back October 16th. So June 7th, collapse. August 6th, transferred to Denver, Colorado, Inglewood. October 16th, back home. And but I was telling him, like, I feel like, he goes, you know what, he says he has a delayed speech, but it's still, his mental capacities are all there. And he's like, well, I think you should lay down and let the feeling wear off. And I was like, oh my God, you're a dork. So I have my dork back, and I am beyond grateful for that, because I need my dork. So his right side is still not, he's walking. We call it his zombie walk, because he has a lot of relearning, you know, so his step is hard. But his right arm can go up to about here, and then he can move his whole hand, but his arm can only go, to about there. But he's practicing every day to get better and better. So we really miss Craig, though, because, you know, he had 6 hours of everything a day for 5 days a week. And now we had an assessment when we got back to California. There's just not enough PT, OT people here. PT, OT, ST, there's just not enough of them. And there's too many survivors for everything. And so he had an assessment 2 weeks ago when we got home. He had one, and then there's nothing for 2 weeks. So we don't have anything till next week. No, till Tuesday. Tuesday is his first, like, real PT OT. And then the following week he may have one more. And then he has basically like one a week, and it's only an hour. And so we need to do a lot here. So he has been walking here at the house. We're not really using his wheelchair, and he talks. He talks a lot too, and so with his speech and stuff. So we've been doing a lot, but it's tough because we're used to doing so much. I mean, our days were filled at Craig, so it's a little bit hard. But they say when you're a survivor, you have a year. You have 12 months from the day of your collapse to get better, and whatever comes after that year, if you don't get your arm to go up, it's not going to ever go back up. And I'm like, wow. So you learn as you go also, you guys. So they do teach you, they do talk to you, they do everything with you. So then that way you're aware, which is appreciated. And so they educate you, and then they say when once you're a Craig patient, you're always a Craig patient. So if I need them for anything, like tomorrow, I could call them up and I can get advice, I can get help. So, which is nice. They offered us to go on a cruise with the Craig, other Craig survivors, and for next year. So Tim and I really want to save up for that and go on the cruise with these people. We think it'd be nice. I'm not scared of cruising. He had a brain bleed. He had an aneurysm. He had hypertension. So wasn't the cruise. So yeah. But I just wanted to let you know how the story went and how it's going. And it's going great, you guys. We have so much help and support here that it's been really phenomenal. And the fire department, of course, is taking care of us here. So we're in, Cheyenne is police department here, city. My son-in-law is county police department, sheriff's office. So we have all our bases covered here, and everybody has been so great, so great. Cheyenne is getting married December 7th, for a second time. So she's, her and Matt got married in Torrance, because they felt life was too short and they really wanted to, be wed. And so they got married, July 22nd, I think, but they're not counting that as their wedding. Their December 7th is their wedding. Tim will be walking her down the aisle. That was his goal, and that is still his goal, to walk her down the aisle, because he needs assistance. So we need to be behind him and holding on to him. But his goal is to be able to walk with her hand in hand, arm in arm, and not have assistance. So we're working on that now. But yeah, so December 7th, you guys. And she had her bridal shower today. And so Matt stayed with Tim while I ran to go to the party for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And so it was really nice. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them. It's okay. And then for the people who did comment about what they're going through, also with their loved one or with their family member, I feel for you. I read your comments, and I really wished I was in a place where I could respond at that time, but I hadn't, and I still haven't. And it's been busy here. We're busy. And so just trying to catch up on life, right? But I feel for you if you need anything. But I'm giving you a virtual hug because I understand. I never thought I would understand, but I do. And if you need any advice or, any, just a kind word, I got it for you. So I can be here for you. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for watching this video. I know it's 30 minutes long. But I just want you to know that he's good. He's not, the tagline I use for him is he is bent but not broken. Bent but not broken. And he is a survivor, not a victim. So upwards, onwards, onwards, upwards. He's got this. And we got it together. And yeah, We got this, you guys. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us. We really just appreciate you staying with us, and thanks for thinking of him, and for your kind words too, and your prayers and your thoughts and your encouragement. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. I hope I explained everything well enough, but we'll talk to you guys all later. Thank you for watching the videos, and I think I still have a lot more unboxings to do because I ordered before we left. So, all right, guys, take care. Bye.